Hi, this is Paul Knickerberka, founder of Be Your Best Academy, where champions inspire to share, sweat, smile, and yes, succeed. We bridge the gap between your potential and game performance. I'm frequently asked by parents, players, and coaches, how can I get my son or my players to generate more power, to make the ball go harder and farther? Well, I've come up with about 5 things that I'd like to share with you that I think will have a strong influence and impact on how hard and how far and how consistently you'll hit the ball. So let's start off with, in no particular order, but there's 5 things I want to address. I want to address timing and vision, timing rules. Timing is the king. Obviously, you can't hit what you can't see, so vision is critical as well. We'll talk about matching sweet spots of bat to the ball. We'll talk about athleticism, how important that is. Synchronization, how everything must work together, and most importantly, hunting pitches. So let's begin. Timing and vision. Well, let me just illustrate to you how difficult it is to hit a round ball with a bat, a rounded bat, and you're asked to hit it squarely. So if I throw this ball up here like so, that basically simulates a 90-mile-per-hour fastball. In high school, where I currently coach and deal with most of my athletes, I look at 85 miles per hour. So everything that we do, we try to prepare for an 85 mile per hour fastball, which is roughly 44 hundredths of a second you have to see it and hit it and put a good swing on it. So, what's so important about timing? Well, timing and rhythm and seeing the ball. You must have soft, sweeping, scanning eyes. A hard stare, concentration. That won't get it done, because what you need to do is you need to get early recognition. So when the pitcher's in his windup, maybe you're having a wide focus, maybe on his head. And as the pitcher delivers and gets into that release point box, your eyes have to shift from the head and find focus to the ball. If you get there too late, not very good. If you get there too early, not ideal. You must get there right on time. So in other words, you must have early detection, early recognition. The sooner you can get early recognition, meaning that you get to release point on time, you'll be able to tell within the first 20 feet of the ball releasing the pitcher's hand whether that ball is going to be high, low, inside, or outside. So it's not so critical that you see the ball hit the bat, because you can't see the ball hit the bat at those velocities that the ball's coming in. So you lose sight of maybe the last 6 to 10 feet where you don't see the ball. And so you're going to swing based on where you think the ball's going to go, where you think the ball's going to land. So vision is very important. Early read is critical. Timing of it all. That's what we're all talking about. Because if you don't have good timing, then all of a sudden all of these flaws come out. If I'm not moving as a hitter until the ball has been released, I don't care how good your mechanics are, it won't matter, because you're too late and you're not going to be consistent and you're not going to put a good swing on it. So we like to use the term connect and commit rhythmically with the pitcher. Connect and commit rhythmically with the pitcher. All that means is that we've got to synchronize our body parts as hitters. Our body has to sync up. Our hands have to work with our feet. And I'll get into much greater detail in future videos, but right now let's safe to say that synchronization of body parts is critical. But not only body parts, you've got to sync up with the pitcher. So we use several different timing devices. Obviously, you have to see the ball clearly, and we just talked about that. But also, we say that, and you can try this at home, if a pitcher goes back, the hitter will move forward. If the pitcher starts moving forward, that's when the hitter goes back. When the pitcher's stride foot hits, that's when the hitter stride foot lifts up to commit to his stride. So there's always a slight, subtle counter movement to the pitcher's movements. We call that syncing up. You can use your breath. As a way to time the pitch, because what's really important is that You have to hit the ball on time. And you can only be on time in space one particular time 100% of the time. Most hitters are either a little bit too early or a tad tardy. So, sweet spot of bat to sweet spot of ball produces sweet music. We want to make sure that we want to hit the sweet spot of the bat. We want to be on time. We don't want to be too early. We don't want to be too late. We don't want to hit the ball underneath the ball or on top of the ball. We want to square it up. A squared up ball will go hard and far. Not everybody has the abilities to hit one deep, but everybody should be able to hit the ball hard. So what angle, ball exit speed, or ball angle should the ball come off the bat? Well, roughly between 20 to 25 degree angles. That's where you get your line drives. Now, if you start going into 30-degree angles, that's where the ball will reach its optimal height and distance. So depending on what type of hitter you are, we believe that you should try and hit line drives. So the ball's coming in on a downward plane, and it's going to exit at roughly anywhere between 20 to 30-degree angles. So that's a little bit about physics, if you will. But matching sweet spot of bat to sweet spot of ball produces sweet music. Aluminum bats differ from wooden bats. Aluminum bats have a little larger sweet spot where the wooden bats don't have so much. You can tell by the sweet spot of a bat. If I had this bat here and I had a hammer, all I would do is hit the bat, and you would be able to hear and determine where the sweet spot is. Another thing I wanted to show you that I think is kind of neat is that if I were to ask youngsters to hold this bat in place, and the only thing I want them to do is focus on the hands or the knob of the bat. When you feel like you've got it with your fingers spread in the palm of your hands, when you feel like you got some balance, let go and see what happens. Keeping your eyes glued to your hands. When I do this, it's not so difficult. It's very hard to maintain balance. But all of a sudden, magically, watch what happens. I'll ask you to do the same thing with youngsters, only this time I'm going to look at the barrel. When I feel ready, let go of my hand. And all of a sudden, it becomes much easier. What's the point here? The point is that my only change in directives were to focus on the barrel versus the hands. Well, that's the way I feel a lot about hitting too. You've got to have good barrel awareness. Barrel awareness, when you hit it on the sweet spots and you match the sweet spots, that's when the ball will carry. So that's kind of what you're looking for. Some people talk about the ball coming off your bat and creating that underspin where the ball will carry. That's an advanced skill. So if you do learn how to do that, the ball will have a tendency to take off. So those are a few things. Obviously, athleticism is important. Athleticism, meaning balance, rhythm, and timing, all come into play. Sure, you have to have strong hands, but more importantly, the core, the power, comes from between kneecaps and rib cage, and making sure that you're always staying connected and you're loading properly. All of those things we need to do to develop athleticism would include a lot of blind spot things that people don't do often enough is rotational components. See, hitting's nothing more than converting momentum into rotational forces. And we have to use our hips. Our hands are what hold the bat, but really the hands are the least strongest of our body. We must deliver the bat with our lower half. Certainly strong forearms and hands help, because ultimately the barrel is going to be traveling the fastest as the body unsequences, if you will, up the kinetic chain, up the kinetic link. And it all starts from ground forces with your feet. So always look to build athleticism, and never forget to do a lot of things that involve rotational components to it. Staying in the weight room and doing bench press is not going to make you hit the ball harder and farther. Certainly it will help, but what's more important is perhaps working with medicine balls and releasing that object, because oftentimes when you lift, you kind of slow down and you're not training as an explosive, accelerated athlete, and that's really what baseball is all about. So, it's like a sprinter. You want to develop good, strong legs, sprint. Nothing over 10 seconds. You can be a marathon runner if you'd like, but that's not really going to be applicable to baseball because it's a fast, accelerated, explosive type activity that we must train, quite frankly. The next thing I want to talk about, well, before I get to that, one other thing, and because I'm cut off here, I brought this little guy, Spider-Man, and so from a technical standpoint, that's important too in terms of hitting home runs or hitting with power. The back foot should be like an L. The hitter is going to be turned like this. An L on your toe, shoelaces facing the pitcher. Now the key here is your front foot. We don't want it to be aiming 12 o'clock right at the pitcher. We want it slightly closed at, let's say, 2 o'clock. The key is at impact, when the bat strikes the ball, your front leg must be firm in addition to your front arm. When your front arm and your front knee is firm at impact, you will generate the most force or rebound from the ball coming in to meet the bat. You'll get the greatest explosion. When the arm is bent or the front leg is bent, come on, Spider-Man. When these guys are bent, when these guys are bent, you will find that the body absorbs the incoming pitch too much. So very, very important at impact that the stride foot, leg, knee joint, and elbow joint are firmed up at impact. So I just wanted to share that with you. For example, let me demonstrate this way. Top hand, palm up. Bottom hand, palm down. At impact, my lead arm should be firmed up. Not before, but right at impact. Boom. And so should my lead knee, as I mentioned to you before. So basically, the elbow and the knee joints kind of match up. The front knee, the front elbow match up, and the back elbow and the back knee, the inverted L. So that's critical. The next thing I want to address in regards to hitting with more power is hunting pitches. And what I mean by hunting pitches, what I mean is that when you take your stride and when you load up, we want you to load up to that timing of that particular pitch that you're anticipating or expecting to get. I use the term hunting pitches. The great ones do it. Barry Bonds, when he was hitting so many home runs and being walked so many times, he never looked like he took a bad swing. The pressure was mounting. The pressure was mounting, and I keep forgetting that. And he was yet still able to focus because he was hunting pitches, or in other words, sitting on pitches. And that, to me, is so important. And oftentimes, we as hitters just go up to the bat and simply just swing. Oh, it looked good, so they're going to hit it. Well, I will share with you that that's not the ultimate batter. That's not going to be the most consistent, productive hitter that you will see. If you hunt pitches, by that, again, it means you load the timing to that particular pitch that you're hunting, or some people call it sitting on pitches. So if I'm looking for a fastball, my load is such that I'm going to time it just right, because as a hitter, I have to be consistent with my timing. That's what it's all about. It's all about timing, as we mentioned before. As a pitcher, we're trying to disrupt that timing. So he's going to throw you pitches in different areas, or he's going to try to fool you with breaking pitches or change-ups or different paces. So that's why it's so critical that we must learn to load and hunt or sit on pitches. If we get a curveball, even though it's a strike, but we were looking fastball, we should let it go. We should have enough confidence in our preparation, in ourselves, to be able to hit with 1 or 2 strikes because we've been practicing and training it. So that's a few things that I'd like to share with you in regards to hitting the ball harder and farther. And like the picture behind me, hunt just like those Predators do. What does Barry Bonds, all the great hitters, Pujols with the Leopard? They're great hunters. They hunt their pitch so they don't get fooled so often. Because the name of the game is, it's a game of probability. You're considered successful if you fail 3 out of 10 times as a hitter. Well, I want to try and anticipate what's coming, load myself up, look for that pitch so I can put a good swing on a good pitch with timing and rhythm in the right situation. So, this is Paul Knickerbocker signing off here. I have 4 more videos to share with you with different topics in regards to what I get asked most frequently by players, parents, and coaches, and I'd love to share that with you. Thank you for staying tuned, and all that I do is always live, so I apologize for some of the visuals and some of the disruptions, but I wanted to give it to you live because I'm speaking from the heart. So, over and out. See you on the other side, and thank you for your attention. Take care.